if Ireland doesn't enact hate speech laws under the EU rule, in the next 2 months, the EU themselves are going to be bringing in sanctions and fining Ireland every single day that we don't bring in hate speech laws, okay? These are draconian laws. Everybody in the country knows this. It is just to steal our freedoms away from the internet, from social media, from true platforms with independent journalism like myself. So I'm going to do everything I can to push against it. Hopefully can educate some people here today on what's actually happening. People like Deputy Ken O'Flynn are some of the only people that are actually pushing back against this. AIM2, of course, the main leader from AIM2, is also pushing back against this. And, you know, a few people, Pedar Tobin, and a few others, but very, very few people understand that these laws are insane. But this is what the Irish people want to do, guys. The Irish government want to push back against the people because the people are discovering what's going on, guys. You know, they're using these terms, you know, racism and far right and things to discredit their sort of mass illegal immigration, you know, this crazy draconian stuff that we have in Ireland today. And every single day it gets worse, okay? Today we have Ken O'Flynn talking about the hate speech laws, and then we have a couple of videos after this as well. So stay tuned. This is gonna get crazy. The next 2 months are gonna be huge in Ireland, okay? This summer is gonna be cold, it's gonna be crazy. This is gonna be a crazy summer all around. So stay tuned, okay? If you guys live in Ireland, you know, send this to people in the US, send it to your cousins in the UK. Make sure that everybody knows about this because we need to leave the EU yesterday, okay? This needs to be over because these laws are getting worse and worse. Let's hear what he has to say about it.
Thank you, Ciarán Comhairle. And could I just add to the sympathies that were passed yesterday to the family of Father Kevin Crowley on behalf of Independent Ireland. Minister, the European Commission has now issued a formal notice to this state demanding that we implement the so-called hate speech laws under the threat of infringement proceedings.
Bastards.
And once again, I see indications from this government of the bending of the knee. They're willing to compromise the constitutional freedoms of the Irish people to appease the European institutions.
Crazy.
And digital outrage merchants.
Crazy.
So let me ask you plainly, will this government stand over a law that criminalises people for what they think, criminalises people for what they say, rather than what they do?
They're bastards, guys. Memes on your phone, jokes on the internet. If you tweet something, if you say something on Facebook, Instagram, nobody knows what hate speech actually is. It's like an old philosophical concept. If I say that you're a man and they're actually a woman or whatever, if you misgender someone, transgender, LGTV, whatever it is, you know, if you accidentally upset somebody, and even if you don't mean to do that, you could face jail time, up to 5 years in prison. So it is insane what's going to happen here. People need to understand and get out and vote, okay? But they don't even allow us to vote on this, okay? The EU is implementing that we have to do these laws. We have JD Vance, Donald Trump, telling the EU to stop pressuring Ireland, but the EU aren't listening. So hopefully our government, you know, has the balls to push back against this. And to all the people that support Palestine and all these different places, you guys are going to get hit as well. Everyone is going to get hit by this law. This law isn't just for the far right or conservative movement, you know, or traditional people. This is for the new age liberals, hippies, and all the woke as well. Okay, it's everyone's getting involved in this one.
Because we're not talking about the incitement of violence. We're not talking about threats or harassment. We're talking about words, ideas and opinions.
Crazy.
Often and sometimes unpopular and uncomfortable, but still lawful expressions, which is supposedly free under a republic. Minister, are you aware in Finland a member of parliament was prosecuted for publicly citing scripture? In Sweden, a pastor was given a 1-month prison sentence for publishing his sermon. In Denmark, an MP was convicted for his views on Islam. Interestingly, in the Danish laws 266b, the truth is not a defence in hate speech and the Danish speech laws.
So even if you are telling the truth, you might still go to jail. Imagine that, guys. In the Republic of Ireland, we fought the British for hundreds of years, 800 years. We fought against everyone to keep this country a free country, the Republic of Ireland. And now we're losing it. To be perfectly honest, guys, you know, I don't know will I even stay in Ireland that much longer. If this happens, you know, there might be a quick evacuation for me. because I won't be able to speak on the internet. So I'm going to have to go somewhere else and record these videos maybe. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. You know, I'm earning enough from my own business to go wherever I want now, but I want to stay in Ireland. I love the West. I love this country. I don't want to leave, but they're going to push people to leave this country for sure, guys, because the freedoms are gone to even say what you want. I mean, that's a big one for me, guys, honestly.
Regardless of the factual accuracy in a statement that is deemed insulting. Yeah. Minister, in parts of Europe, laws are being used to criminalise satire and prosecute artists and silence dissent. In Scotland, even private conversations spoken within one's own home may fall within the remit of the criminal hate speech.
What?
This is not theoretical, Minister. This is actually happening.
Jeez.
We must... Could we have one meeting of the Dáil, please? We must, if we're to pass this legislation, what comes next? We have to ask ourselves that question. Will quoting scripture become a punishable act, something that finds the teachings of exclusionism? Will religious observations be demanded as hateful if they conflict with the views of the public? Will the right to express a moral belief be not, if it's found uncomfortable, be not accepted? Ireland already has hate speech laws, Minister, in place, which are genuinely hate speech, which are about the incitement of violence. So what exactly is the real purpose of this proposed legislation that is to come before us? To protect people from violence, or to protect people or protect the government from criticism? So, Minister, could I ask you, who will define hate in this House? Will it be the courts? Will it be civil servants? Will it be an online administrative service? Will it be an algorithm? What will be the threshold if I disagree with somebody in worldwide views?
Very good question. You know, what's the threshold? Are X gonna come at us? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? Are YouTube gonna reprimand me? Like, who is the overlord here? Because YouTube, the platform that I post on, it's an American platform. They don't have hate speech laws in the US. Not like the ones that they're trying to impose here. They're different. Okay, they're actually different laws in the US, because a lot of people fucking try to bring that up with me. Oh, Chris, they're the same laws. They're actually not. Okay, not at all. In the US, they have complete freedom of speech for the most part. Certain things, you know, artist expression. But if you're on the internet like this, guys, who is going to be monitoring and critiquing and actually persecuting my speech? I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a fun 2 months, guys. You know, you guys might have to bail me out, okay? This is what I do for the people, all right? This is what I'm doing for my country, guys. You might have to bail my ass out of prison, guys. Out of jail. I'm not even joking. This is great. This country has lost its goddamn mind.
On criminality, would I be found as a criminal for having a different view to you, Minister?
Please. Delivering amazing customer service.
He's 100% correct. You know, nobody can tell me what a hate law is, you know, what is hateful. If I say this shirt is blue and you say this shirt is green, you know, is that hateful? You know, the expansion of that is just crazy. If I say that reality, the sky is flipping blue, and then you say it's green, is that going to be hateful? You know, these are the logical conclusions that's going to happen from this bullshit.
Sure.
Well, you certainly won't be found a criminal for having a different view with me anyway, Deputy. I can assure you of that. And I think as we're dealing with this...
Yeah, he says that now. Big tough lad. He says that now. But when it comes down to it, guys, these people will sue you, put you in prison. They're just revenge of the nerds. You know, this is like the people in school that used to tell on you, oh, teacher, he said something mean about me. You know, this is the lame nerd shit that we have to put up with in Ireland. I mean, these guys need to grow a pair of balls, man. Honestly. Man up.
Important matter that is at the heart of how we conduct politics within our society and within our liberal democracy that we're all proud of, that we know we can never take for granted, that we have to protect and renew by act and deed and word. It's important to remember what has already happened and what is the legal framework in relation to all of this. So as the House will be aware, in the 31st of December of last year, the Criminal Justice Hate Offences Act of 2024 came into effect.
Yeah.
And what that prescribed is prison service sentences for very, very specific crimes where words or incitement was proven to be motivated by hatred or where hatred was demonstrated.
Yeah, that's also a tough one, because how can you, like, judge, you know, what the philosophical background to somebody is? Like, let's say somebody attacks me, beats me up, and they say, okay, I'm beating you up because you're Irish or something. But like, how can they prove that? Like, I'm more concerned about getting my flipping teeth knocked out and my jaw broken than I am about his philosophical ideology. Like, I don't really care, guys. If someone tries to stab me like that priest in Galway, at the Galway barracks, got stabbed, I don't even care if he's ISIS, or it doesn't matter to me. The fact that he's actually trying to stab you and kill you, that's, to me, more of an active threat. You know, we can talk about the philosophical ramifications. Oh, what's this guy's background? How did he grow up? You know, they're trying to look, did this guy have mental health disorders? Like all this bullshit, guys. Like, that does not matter. You know, the active threat that this guy is trying to kill the public, or, you know, or some heinous crime is way more important to me than some random guy saying, you know, oh, you know, his philosophical background is he's mean on the internet. Like, that doesn't matter, guys. Your character in person matters more to me than actually the reason why you did something. The reason why you did something, to me, is always irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I don't even want to know why someone did something. I don't care. You know, I'm not that deep of a philosopher. You know, that shouldn't really come into the law. The law already states if you're a criminal and want to hurt people, then that's a crime. You know, the philosophical background is bullshit.
And what that did is it put in place the right legislation and right legal framework to ensure that any assault that was aggravated in any way by hatred was one that was going to attract a higher prison sentence. So that's what we've already done. And
really stupid. Like, really stupid. How do you know if it's motivated by hatred? That's up for the juror to decide, and it's too arbitrary. It's too open-ended. You know, come on, man.
I think, therefore, in dealing with your issues and the charges that you have made regarding how we want to maintain that balance, I think it is a balance that deserves further debate, and maybe in a kind of a more careful way. I do believe that the use of language and the way we describe issues here in this House does have an effect on the tone of politics. And I believe the tone of politics in turn affects the conduct of politics, and how we can make the case for politics as a force for good and helping with the issues that all of us are elected to raise. But we will do that in a way that gets that balance right. I'm not familiar with the detail of the legislation that you've referred to in Denmark or Sweden.
God. Yeah, and every time anybody opposes it, like anybody on the right, like Freedom Ireland there, Ken O'Flynn, anytime that they oppose these people, they're like, oh, well, we're not really familiar with the legislation. Well, you're trying to enact the draconian law. Like, how are you not familiar with that? You're the only person that should be familiar with that. If you're not going to be familiar with that, then who is? Like, this is just this is criminal, guys. This is crazy.
No, they are political traditions that are every bit as proud as us, that take the case of parliamentary democracy and freedom of expression every bit as seriously as we do. But I know here in Ireland, if there is a cause to consider the matter further, we will do three things. Firstly, we will ensure that whatever we do continues to be consistent with the constitutional framework that we have here in place within our country, which we cherish.
This is all shite talk, bollocks, you know. I never trust a man with a lisp, okay, first and foremost.
Secondly, any such moves, any such further decisions are ones that always have to be proportionate and recognise the deep value of free speech and the right for freedom of expression. But thirdly and finally, freedom of expression is not cost-free or consequence-free. Words can be used in such a way that causes more than hurt, that causes more than offence, but can influence how others act. And that is recognised in the legislation the government already has in place, and you and others can be assured that in any further consideration of this issue, the government and Minister O'Callaghan will always be aware of the delicate and vital balance that we need to maintain.
No, I don't agree with that at all. You know, he says that words can be used in a misleading way. Well, here's the thing, guys. You know, who determines that? He's going to tell me what words are good and bad? I don't know, man. I don't trust it. I'll just say that much. I don't trust it.
Thank you, Carol. Minister, you are aware that the Commission has sent a request to the state on this and asked us to tighten the laws. And are you prepared under the Minister of as the Department of Finance to pay the fines if we don't change the laws? Is that going to be something, because there is proceedings there, and that has been cited from the European Union. Minister, I want to draw your attention to the European Courts of Human Rights in the Handyside versus the United Kingdom in 1976, where the freedom of expression included speech that offends, shocks and disturbs is included in that. And
yeah, we already have laws like that. They just want to bring in more and more draconian laws. This is like an elevated law. We already have the basic laws around hate speech and hate crime. Everybody knows about that. But now they want to bring in worse, more intense laws. Like, come on, man. This is just so unnecessary, man. It's ridiculous,
Accepted by the department, by that. I also want to bring your attention to Bundock Heron, Article 40.6.1, with the right to expression under our Constitution. So, Minister,
forget about right to expression. That doesn't even exist anymore.
Could you really confirm to us that there will be no other influence now from the European Union about bringing in or entering more hate speeches? Because there is a genuine concern out there about people's right to talk and about people's right to stand out. And Minister, I would say to you as well, there's many people in this country who have a conflicting view with lots of European countries when it comes to Palestine and Israel. Will all those people will be included under a hate speech law?
Minister.
Oh, you betcha they will. Oh, 100%. Everyone is going to be killed underneath that law. That law is insane, guys. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, guys, because we know how that ends. It's just bullshit, guys. It's nonsense. Is here, guys. Talking about mental health. Carl Martin says, "Am I the only one in Ireland now who doesn't have ADHD? That old feigning of responsibility. ADHD. That actually rhymes. I didn't do that. That wasn't on purpose. Blonde Tracy. Blonde Tracy. How are you blonde by? Or gal. Or Bjor. How are you Bjor? RT presenter on pregnancy podcast and her ADHD diagnosis." Dude, this is some bullshit. Nobody in the whole world has ADHD. This is new age psychology bullshit. Okay, I made a video recently about this one chubby girl that said, "Oh, because of my ADHD, I can't lose weight." And it's like, come on, dude. Like, are we gonna be putting the responsibility of our mental illness on weight loss and just our, being shit at life? Don't ever listen to this new age philosophy, guys. A lot of this philosophy and nonsense it's all nonsense. Stay strong, be strong, hit the gym, fight every single day, guys. Go do MMA, do shit like that, guys. Get your mental real solid. All right, that's how you become successful in life. I love you all. If you want to support me, hit the join link underneath the video. Become a member today. And to hell with those goddamn hate speech laws, okay? We're not going to be listening to any of that shit. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.